Welcome to Rugby AM right here on Free Sports from myself, Jamie Jones Buchanan, flying solo this week as my mate Alex Simmons is still in Toronto celebrating their promotion to Super League in 2020. But I'm joined in the studio by a superb guest, a real role model of mine growing up, ex-Great Britain legend and current director of rugby at Newcastle Thunder, Denis Betts. Denis, how are you?
Great to be here, JJB.
Talk to me a little bit about Newcastle, because it's been a weekend of success and failures, either joy or heartbreak. And for yourselves at Newcastle, unfortunately going down to Oldham in the League One playoff final there, but you must take a lot of positives that you can take into 2020 from this year.
Yeah, it's been a journey this year. I came in about 6 months ago, changed the coach and changed a couple of things around the squad and the team, and our ambition was to be in the Championship next year. We weren't known to hide from it. We felt that we'd done enough to be able to achieve that. But unfortunately, Oldham just had a bit too good a game on their home ground yesterday to prevent us from going into the Championship. And it's a good club, got really good ownership, got a good chairman.
And you were saying that they've got all the ingredients to potentially go right up to Super League in terms of infrastructure. It's all there.
The game needs towns or cities like Newcastle involved in it. I think it's a massive growth area. It's a major city. It's got a big attraction. We know when you've been there for the Magic Weekends what a vibrant place it is and how excited people get about sport there. I think there's a way that we would like to be in the Championship next year and push ourselves forward and hopefully get involved in Super League in the not too distant future.
How long is it going to be before we see another Chris Foreman, Smuggy running around with the Geordie accent? When you meet people with the Geordie accent, you think they're probably not going to know who we are, not going to know much about rugby league. Actually seeing it a lot more, and I imagine taking the Magic Weekend up to Newcastle has really helped. But how far off were you? A few more Geordie accents in Super League and Championship?
We're not too far. I'd say the problem with an instant gratification society is that we all want it now.
Yes. Yeah.
And when we're looking at 16-year-olds or 14-year-olds, got a really good academy and a really good 16-year-old programme. We've got some 18, 19-year-old kids there that are going to be pushed into being part of the senior team next year. But there's a lot of kids playing up there. And the beauty of it is when you go out into the schools and you go out into the community, you see lots of kids and lots of people wanting to be involved in rugby league, and that's what's nice about being up in the northeast at this moment in time.
Well, I'm hoping to see a few more Geordie accents anyway, but what we are seeing in the lead up to the grand final and certainly in the playoffs are a lot more Salford fans coming out of the woodwork, supporting their team, getting right behind them at the semi-final at Wigan. It was immense, that away stand, getting right behind Salford. I want to talk about the grand final, because when you talk about the expectation, where people thought Salford were going to finish fighting potential relegation, to being in a grand final, that's the gap, and I think that's why there's so much joy and surprise and
that's
emotion.
Your gap. That's everybody else's gap and perception. Like Ian Watson's gap's never been that.
Yep.
And when they were in the qualifiers, you speak, and I heard a conversation with Ian, I think it might have been last week sometimes, when they were in that bottom two again and they were fighting to stay through the qualifiers, he always thought that they were a top 8 side.
Right.
They just need a little bit of luck. I think the acquisition of, obviously, Hastings has been a massive key to that. Yep. I think Lussick's been outstanding as well for them, and on the back of that, certain players have really stepped up and the whole squad has pushed through, and it's a great story. It's a fantastic story. And when you look at it, like say, you know how hard Ian's worked over the last 10 years or whatever he's been involved in coaching. It's a great outcome to that, and what a great story for a Championship, for League One coaches that are applying their trade. And that's, from my point of view, you don't really look that deep into those. And what I've had to do the last couple of years, is this year especially, is be around those coaches, see those coaches, and know that how hard they work and how talented some of those coaches are in League One and Championship, and have the ability to push that forward and just need an opportunity.
You mentioned a few names there that were paramount in the Man of Steel Awards on last Sunday. It's been a big year for Salford in terms of making history. They could create history by winning the first ever grand final. What do they need to do then, Denis, from a coaching perspective, to overcome the might of St Helens that took apart a Wigan in that first semi?
Well, they need to start well for a start, and that's what they've been doing really well. Because I think what St Helens did in their semi-final against Wigan was just blew them off the park.
Yep.
Like you say, the Thompson and Walmsley just blew them to pieces. John Lomax was just pulling all the strings. But you've got to put them under pressure. You've got to make them feel like they're in a really tough game.
Yep.
If they fall over the line early a couple of times, then it's going to be a hill to climb. So they have to start well. I think that's the first thing. I'm not saying something that Ian won't know. He knows that they've got to get it right from the kick-off. It's got to be the first carry. It's got to be the first 5 minutes in a block of how they finish those sets and where they turn the ball over and completion.
Well, tomorrow, Thursday, is World Mental Health Day, and we went over to do a really special, emotive feature with Dom Crosby, another player who, like yourself, has played in 2 grand finals. He had a tragic event that affected him and his family a few years ago, and this is what he had to share with us.
There's a stigma around sport and male athletes that you have to act a certain way and be tough, but that's not always the case. We're normal, just like you. We have feelings too. Myself and Megan got together in 2011 and I proposed to her in 2015. She's my absolute rock and there's no one I'd rather be with, and we decided to try for a baby around 2015, 2016 and was ready for that next step, and we managed to fall pregnant, and we found out it was a little girl, went for all the scans and buying girls stuff and doing the room, and yeah, it was a very, very happy time in our lives. So it was a healthy pregnancy, I was looking forward to everything, nothing got shown up on the scans, and I was ecstatic. It was a normal labour, routine labour, and I remember when Ada eventually got delivered, and it was the happiest feeling I've ever had. Words can't describe the feeling I had holding my baby girl who I've wanted for that long and who we've pined for, and I don't think I'll ever get a better feeling than them moments after. And Megan was fine and Ada was fine by the looks of it, and I've gone to training the next day, and I went home and I was with Megan's mum Rita, and I was putting the pram together and ready to pick Megan up and getting all the car seat ready and all set for Ada to come home, and then I got a phone call that not anyone could ever wish for, and my whole life changed at that point. The words Megan said to me, and she was crying and she was very upset on the phone, and I just remember saying, "You've got to come. A doctor's been and seen Ada. She's blue, and now she's in intensive care, and her heart wasn't working properly, and the next time I seen Ada was in intensive care, and she was wired up, she was in a glass tube, and I've gone from picking my daughter up and having this overwhelming feeling of joy and happiness to worrying about my daughter's life. And so the specialist come in and he explained that she might need to be transferred to Alder Hey. They think it's a heart problem. The cardiologist came around and explained that they think it's pulmonary stenosis, which means she's got a block in an artery what's pumping blood or oxygen around in the heart. And they said, they need an operation just to put a balloon catheter in just to open it up and make sure everything's okay. And they said, you've not got much to worry about, just stay positive. And one of the toughest things I'll ever have to do is put your daughter to sleep knowing that there's a risk of, fatality. And luckily the operation went well and she got put into a high dependency unit again, and one of the nurses wasn't happy about sending her back to the ward, so she come back and she got rushed to theatre, and when they was doing the first operation, they pierced the wall of her heart and it caused a lot of bleeding. So then she got put into a coma, and she was in intensive care then, and she was getting better after a few days, and on Megan's birthday it worked out nice. For Megan's birthday she got put onto the ward, and gradually Ada's symptoms started getting better, and she started moving down. So in Alder Hey they do it though, if you're further up the ward you're less likely to be moving on, but as you creep down the ward it means you're getting close to the door, then you can come out. And Ada was getting close to the door, and we was under the impression, you know, we got told that she'd be home in a couple of days, and obviously, you know, we were ecstatic. And then as they'd weaned her off, symptoms started to worsen, and then, you know, we got the news that they didn't think it was stenosis. They thought it was pulmonary atresia, which means that an artery's blocked. So when they found out it was atresia, she needed to go in again, and she needed to have a stent in. I remember training that day, and it's mad really, because I remember Rich Agar was the coach at the time, and the lads knew, and Rich knew, and I remember standing at the side of the pitch, and Rich saying, you know, all the best for tomorrow, you know, I'm thinking about you, and I was just staying positive. I said, no, everything's going to be all right, I know it, like I knew it. And so she went in for the operation, and she got put back on high dependency unit, and everything had worked. Her levels, her oxygen levels, her saturation levels for her heart were perfect. And I remember the person saying it could have gone any better. It couldn't have gone any better. The nurse at the time, because they have like one-on-one care, said, oh, you know, I've had an easy day today, she's been perfect. And I just remember, and then we got told she'd be home like within a couple of days, and so we went to bed the following night. I remember a phone call I had in the middle of the night saying, you better come, I think she's took a turn for the worse. And I remember going, and I still in my head just trying to stay positive, just trying to think, you know, she'll be all right, she'll get through it, she's been through so much already and that. And as I've got there, I seen her, and I heard loads of like trolleys and like things missing. I'm like, what's that noise? And like people shouting, and she was having a cardiac arrest in front of me, but so obviously we was upset, and we didn't know what to do, and I just remember shouting and just trying to get someone to help her, just anything, just do something. And so she ended up having 2 cardiac arrests, and at the time they thought it was the best option just to put her on life support. And the next time I seen her was she was on like it's like called ECMO, they call it. It's like a life support machine, and she was cut open from like her belly all the way to her chest, and I just I felt helpless. I just felt, you know, like I'm a dad and I should be protecting her, and I just felt there's nothing I could do, and that I was probably I just wanted to do more. I just wanted to, I wish it was me. We went back to the Ronald McDonald house that following night, and I was optimistic. I was staying positive, and I thought, I'm going to be strong. I'm going to stay positive, and I know she'll be all right. You know, she's my little girl. I'll be strong for her. And Megan was on the same page, and Rita wasn't. Then we went to bed, and I'll never ever forget the phone call I had, and I just remember about 2 a.m, just the phone going, and I knew what it was. I knew what it was about, and the fella said, you better come in. And I said, is everything all right? And he just said, I just think it's better if you come in. I knew that it was bad news when I got that phone call, you know. It was... I just, at the time, I just felt like, you could say not responsible, but I just felt like I wanted to do something so much. I just wanted to feel like I did everything I can, and I was just questioning it, because we were getting told that she's going home in a couple of days to, you know, have an operation and seeing her on life support, seeing her have a cardiac arrest in front of you, and I had to deal with it a certain way to be strong for Megan, but the way I was dealing with it, it wasn't the right thing to do for Megan. I've learned that, you know, in painful situations, you can't run away from them. You can't seek different solutions, drink, drugs, wherever it may be. You know, you can't do it. You've got to look it right in the face and accept it for what it is. And I just wanted someone to just put their arm around me and just say, you know, Dom, everything's going to be okay. You know, just tell me, just everything's going to be all right. And I remember Jack coming in, and he was crying, and I just remember him just giving me a hug, and I just remember just felt empty. I couldn't stand the thought of a piece of concrete over, and myself and Megan came up with a thing, and we called it a garden. I actually enjoy coming here to the grave and saying hello, and I talked to her about, you know, how my day's going and how much I miss her, and just generally catch up. You know, I speak to her as if she's there, and like she's always with me, and you know, I'll always have a daughter, and I'll always be here for my little girl. We went to the funeral parlour, and you get told that you can go and see them at the back when they're in the casket and stuff at the back, and it was probably the worst thing I've ever had to do, and it was like, I just wish I never did it, and she wasn't there anymore. And yeah, the day of the funeral, it was gut wrenching. You know, I felt empty. We arrived, and I had to carry my girl down in a wooden box down the aisle, and people were there, friends and family, and we came around there just in front of where Ada was buried, and it's nothing. A father or mother should never ever have to bury the child, and I don't say this lightly, and at the time I've never ever physically wanted to commit suicide, but at the time I remember speaking to Megan, and I was like, I understand why people do it. I didn't see any point in me being here anymore. Yeah, so I'm here at my current club, Leeds Rhinos, at Headingley Stadium, and back when Ada passed away in 2017, I was at Warrington Wolves, and Ada was still in the back of my mind, and the memories what I had from Warrington. It's no disrespect to the club or anything, but I had bad memories of what I had to go through, and I think Steve Price recognised that there was something up with me, and it was brilliant. And he said, you know, if you feel happier somewhere else, and you know, you think it's what you need for your mental health, and then he was very positive, and he said go for it. And as soon as I came to Leeds, and I knew it was the right decision, and I knew it was the right thing to do, and the boys welcomed me with open hands, and I thought I did well. Kev was up front with me and just said, you know, if you prove yourself, there's a deal on the table, but it's up to you. And I thought I was getting in some pretty good form, but I knew I had, you know, a couple of niggles at that back end of last year, and I did enough to earn a 3-year deal, and what was meant to be a routine operation on my ankle, and turned out to be pretty intense. I had 2 operations on my ankle, and then I've had 2 operations on my knee, and I've not managed to play this year. found a home in Leeds, and we love it. And shortly after Ada passed away, 3 or 4 months it was, I think, off the top of my head, and it was Rita's birthday, or around the birthday, and Megan comes down with a pregnancy test, and I was shocked. I didn't know how to feel about it. She went it as a surprise, and my first feeling was fear. I was scared. I never ever want to experience that pain ever again, and I just wanted him to be healthy. And Megan goes into labour, and it's something, you know, I probably can't explain unless someone's been through the same situation. I was scared, and it was like I had my fingers crossed, and it was like 9 centimetres dilated, and then next thing everyone started rushing in saying, "You're going to have to push, he's losing his breath." So obviously the feeling that we had, and Megan was like, you know, she was struggling, you know, an epidural never worked, and I just remember this nurse coming, you know, she got Megan and she looked her in the face and kind of shouted at her a bit, you know, "You're going to have to push here, you can do it and you will do it." I couldn't really enjoy the moment even when he was born, because I knew what would have to happen next. I knew that he'd have to have all these tests, and it'd have to be a day or so after that we'd have to check it. And we stopped in an extra night, and we got the all clear, and I made sure they did it twice and checked everything over. And the best feeling I've ever had by holding Ada for the first time, and was taking my son out of hospital, carrying him in the car seat, and just being able to take my son home and hold my son in my own arms, and you know, and I really felt everyone's happiness for us. Yeah, so little Oscar was born, and all that happened, and it's been the best year of my life, and couldn't have got through the injury the way I have been going through, or the off-field stuff without Oscar. I'm truly grateful for that little boy, and he's a blessing in my life. He's my best mate. Ever since Ada's passed away, and I feel myself, I've changed, and I just want to help people. And I googled strongmen, and it come up as a charity what helps people who's going through mental health issues through bereavement. And so I clicked on it, and basically it's about people who suffer from mental health problems through bereavement and kept it in, and you know, not dealt with it the best way they could have. They provide support, and they provide weekends, and they kind of link the mental health with the physical health. And it's just about having that kinship and knowing that people have been through what you've been through and felt them feelings you've felt, instead of being in a room and going, "What's your story?" You know, you don't necessarily have to talk about what you've been through and what your story is, but you've got that common thing of, you know, you've suffered through mental health, you've had depression, you've had anxiety, you've done things what you not necessarily do, but you've dealt with it in a better way. I was really honoured to be asked to be an ambassador of this charity, and it's something what really hits home and means a lot to me. And going through mental health myself, and not just through bereavement, in other things, and people not knowing my story and what I've been through, along with the injuries I've had on top of that, and that's been tough for me. You know, I was in a straight leg brace for 3 months, and no one's seen that side where I couldn't walk, or you know, people giving me stick on Twitter or whatever it may be, and family, you know, "Why are you always injured?" You know, I've had to deal with that, and we're just normal people too. That the side where people don't see is the pressure we have, and we've got feelings, and we just want to play rugby and be the best we can. You know, no one expects to be injured or play bad on a Friday or Saturday, and that's why it's home for me. It's a great charity, and like I said before, it's run by great people, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
It was a massive honour to help Dom Crosby recall some difficult memories and share his story there. Now we've got the competition of the age partnership winners to announce, which is Roy Flavin and Paul Curley have won our competition. You're going to have some corporate hospitality at Old Trafford at the grand final with the likes of Lee Crooks, Gary Schofield and Paul Newlove. Well, if you've not got your grand final tickets yet, go to rugbyam.co.uk and get them ordered. We want to see you right there at the grand final. I'm going to be there. You're going to be there, Dennis?
I'm going to be there.
Of course he is. Well, I've had a wonderful time in part 1. I'll see you in a few minutes for part 2. Welcome back to Rugby AM right here on Free Sports. Talk to me then about Man of Steel Awards. I'll just touch on it for a few minutes, not least because I've got a little trophy of my own there. I'm really honoured to have been awarded. Couldn't believe it, blown out of the water for me. It was an unbelievable event, full of Salford fans.
Did you not know you were getting that?
I did not know that I was getting that, no. So I had all kinds of anxieties when I was getting up. The reason for that anxiety is because I wanted to express my gratitude, my debt of gratitude to the game, and what I've been able to have out of the game. Everything that I am now in 2019 as a 38-year-old, most of it is as a result of rugby league and the people that have paid that into me. And I want to thank everybody personally for that. Not just people at Leeds who have been amazing and brought me up as a kid, from being a kid, but everybody involved in stewarding the great game of rugby league. Before I get there, I just want to touch then, Coach of the Year, Justin O'Brook wins it. A lot of people thinking Ian Watson because of that gap that I started with. What's your thoughts?
I think Justin deserves.
Yeah.
You can't, just because he's got a side, he's had to build a side. He's got some really good players in there, but he's made them better.
Yep.
He's galvanised that group over the last 2 years, and he won the league by the largest points margin ever.
Yes.
Like, see, it's that kind of so he's done special things with a special group.
St Helens have been excellent in pretty much everything the club's done this year. Leeds had to overcome a big deficit, the Women's Super League semi-final, Leeds versus St Helens, where Courtney Hill, who became the Women's Woman of Steel this year at the Man of Steel Awards. The women's game going from strength to strength, and a massive achievement from Courtney Hill as well.
Fantastic, isn't it? I know, it's like that inclusivity. I got 5 daughters.
Right.
2 granddaughters, so you can understand women's sport, and women are pretty important to me as well, and opportunities for women. It's a pleasure to watch, and it's great to be around when that kind of stuff's happening.
Well done, Courtney, for your Woman of Steel award. Last but certainly not least, Jackson Hastings winning Man of Steel. And we've seen trends here when you've got Roby up there near the stop, you've got Liam Watts, Blake Austin, so many players, but the most consistent one has to be Jackson Hastings, and well deserved.
I think consistency is the key. It's like I don't think there's been a bad choice in Man of Steel, no matter which way you've looked at it over the last. The best player usually climbs to the top. I've done a few Salford games, and Jackson's always, when Salford have won, which has been on a big run as well towards the end of the year, Jackson's always been the first or second in my selections.
We've got to talk a little bit about Toronto now. There's some big games this week. Denis, Featherstone, 300 minutes were outstanding. Just didn't quite have the legs, but they were impressive, weren't they?
They were fantastic. What a good story again. It was it's that Salford of the Championship as well, a side that's jumped out of nowhere. Nobody really thought would have an opportunity to get into that game, and everybody was talking about Featherstone again.
Yes.
Being back in Super League, or getting into Super League for the first time, and everybody having to go to Featherstone and face the pitch on a slant and all the stuff that we've been through. They just need to change the game back to winter. Put the games against Featherstone on Wednesday night, and then really know how tough it is to go to Featherstone.
I've been there, mate. You'll have done that many years ago. Well, one guy who I reckon would be dominating this sofa if he was sat here will be dominating Toronto in our next little feature. Let's go get Alex Simmons' opinion. Let's go to Toronto and find out what he got up to.
Welcome to Toronto, welcome to Rugby AM. It's an absolute privilege to be here, thousands of miles from home in Leeds, but it's all about this today. The right to be in Super League. Featherstone Rovers versus the Toronto Wolfpack. The Toronto boys come out onto the field, led by Andrew Dixon, like they were 3 years ago when we were here for the first game. What I see today is potential. Potential for Rugby League, potential for our great game to span across the world and grow into new territories, new areas, and bring Rugby League to the masses. Whatever happens today, it's a win for Rugby League. Who knows who's going to win? Let's find out. Let's catch up with some big names before the game to see what they think. And it's epic clash for Super League. Ryan, we've been here. This is our 3rd visit now. We were here for the very, very first game. What a journey it's been, because you've been right at the heart of that journey from day one. Must be a really proud and slightly nervous day for you today.
An element of nerves, absolutely, because you never know the outcome when you've got a good team and a competitive team. We learned last year that it's not over till the fat lady sings as such. So we understand we've got a massive game to play. We've got to play the game, not the occasion. We have a good team. We're playing against a good team, so all of those credentials. But yeah, sure, from a blank piece of paper to what's going to be a full house today and a rocking environment and an event and a belief that North America has the potential to give our game a huge boost. And that's always been part and parcel of my drive. I want everybody to see our great game. I've always believed that once you show them this great game of ours, they'll come and they'll watch it, and that's proven to be the case here. And one of David Argyle's mantras was, we need to put rugby balls in kids' hands. Well, how do you do that? You put a show on, you give them the best you can possibly see, you give them good players that do exciting things, skillful things, great things, contact things, collision things, and you say, we're throwing this your way, what do you think? And in this city they've gone, yeah, big thumbs up.
Jamie Jones-Buchanan always tells me the game's won and lost in the back row, and unfortunately for Featherstone, the two back rowers stood with us on the sideline. Brad and Josh Waltz there talking to Mac in the background. How are the boys looking? What's the feeling like in the sheds? What's the chat? Because you've gone away to Leigh, you've gone away to York, you've gone away to Toulouse and picked up wins against all the odds. The turnaround's a killer to come here to Toronto. What's the chat like in the sheds?
There's great buzz up in it. Everybody's on an high. Like he says, it's been an hard run for us. We've been playing away at Leigh, obviously a tough game. York, same. Then Toulouse, and then backing it up, coming here quickly. Obviously from Sunday and then go out Thursday. You know, it's been a tough ask in that, but everybody's buzzing about it and really excited for the opportunity.
Left for Featherstone Rovers. Dane Chisholm, it's a really intelligent kick. Sutcliffe is chasing it. Liam Kay is there.
Want to try this?
Johnson has pounced on it. Johnson's put the ball down. Wow. He's given a try. Andy Ackers. Brilliant feint, took 3 out, got the ball away. They've got the ball down, happy. Going to be an instant response for Toronto.
Yeah, baby! Yeah! Yeah!
Come on, Wolfpack! 3 years ago, we met the Wolfpack back. Still alive and kicking.
Still alive!
How do you feel right now, mate?
Alex,
8 minutes from Super League.
First time I met you 3 years ago, I said, it's not union, but it'll do. But I'll tell you, Alex, we're going up, and it's everything! We're going up! We're going up! We're going up!
Firstly, Ryan, mate, unlucky today. Some very tight calls there from the referee. 24 points to 6 doesn't really reflect the game as such. It was a much tighter affair. You must be proud of your boys, though. What an effort the last few weeks.
Yeah, I'm hugely proud of them, Simo. I couldn't be happy with how they applied themselves the last 4 weeks and the effort they put in for each other. And I think everyone in this stadium here today could see how hard they were trying and how hard they were working, mate. But no, I thought it was a really good game up until that. It was a very dubious call, I thought, when we had the ball and we got penalised with it. Sort of turned the whole game on its head. But look, they're a good team. You give them a sniff and they'll take it. So, yeah, that's footy.
Cal McClelland, obviously, you've been guiding this team around the last few weeks and you've really grown into the shirt at Feather. Have you enjoyed it? Your experience, obviously, a Leeds player by contract, but you've been at Feven, you've been ripping it up, mate.
I've honestly loved it. It's been the most enjoyable months of my short career, but I can't thank everyone enough at the club, from David at CEO, from Cambo right down to S&C, physio. It's been amazing, especially Ryan, the way he took to me and the stuff he's learned me, it's been amazing.
Wolfpack go on to Super League. How do you think they're going to get on in Super League, pal?
Mate, it's a great pot game that they're in Super League, obviously. They were favourites today, and rightly so. They're a really good side, and I think they'll go well. Obviously, the travel takes out here, and it is tough place to come in. It's an awesome crowd. It's a great place to play, though.
Nico, look at this, a bit of gold around your neck. I bet you're over the moon, mate, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm absolutely over the moon. It's unbelievable to get this done after last year and that. So yeah, I'm buzzing. From the beginning, day one, it's been a long journey. We've had loads of ups and downs to overcome, but it was all worth it just to get that win then.
Mate, and Super League, what are you going to bring to Super League? It's for anyone who's not been here before, for all those teams, all those fans who have been talking about maybe coming to the Wolfpack, what are they going to expect from next year?
It's something different to you'll ever experience. I think North America, the kind of games that they've got, that kind of feel where it's an event, it's a massive day out. So, when they come down, they'll experience that, and I'm sure they'll love it. NRL
winner Ricky Lotelli. Ricky, how does that compare to winning the NRL, winning the big comp?
It's definitely up there because we put a lot of thought into getting into Super League. So we had a lot to lose today, and the boys really dug deep to get the win.
You're looking around at the stadium. When you walked out on the field, you looked up into the stands. How did it make you feel as a player? Because these guys are loud and proud.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that worked hard, and there's a lot of fans here that showed the hard work our staff did. So it was awesome to get the win for the city and also the club and our staff.
What we've seen today is David Argyle believed, Eric Perez believed in the beginning, Brian Noble believed. I look around now, I see hundreds of staff, players, thousands of fans, and we're looking at the mayor today, the councillor. The city now believes in the Wolfpack. Have we seen something special be born today for Toronto? We're looking at another major sporting franchise for this great city.
Yes, I do believe that, and it's just the start of a wave, and I hope everyone jumps on it and follows us, because it's going to be something exciting in the future.
Liam, mate, you were the first signing in the club's history. How's it feel today to be taking the club to Super League, pal?
Just a massive, sense of achievement. Signing with the clubs, starting from the bottom, working his way up. It's biggest achievement in my career so far, and hopefully we can continue that next year.
You nearly quoted Drake then, didn't you?
Started from the bottom now,
Hackers, mate.
Let's go, Bobby!
Yeah. Mate, talk to me about how you feel about that. When the final whistle went, what were the feeling like, mate?
Oh mate, you see there on video there, you watch it back, you see me run on like 5 minutes earlier thinking whistle's already gone, you know what I mean, but that's just my brains. But honestly, it's been a great year, you know what I mean. And Max come in, he's changed everything, and he's brought a few new faces in. The lads have just stuck together. There's a different vibe here this year, do you know what I mean? And to achieve Super League with this great team, and it's growing this rugby league, mate, it's phenomenal, you know what I mean. It's great, I'm buzzing.
Bash,
yeah.
The fat lady is singing, brother.
Yeah.
But what an experience. You've been here since, obviously, the inception, and
yeah,
it must mean a lot for you today.
Yeah, look, that was pretty special to finish on something like that. It's. I know we get a bit of flack back in England, but to the fans who might not see us as good for rugby league, I just think you look at something special like today. 10,000 people here in Canada. Do a sport that's only just come on in 3 years. You know what I mean? If I can say anything to them fans, we're not trying to take food off your plate. We just want to expose the game to broader audiences, and also make sure these Yorkshire clubs, these Lancashire clubs, these local clubs in Australia and New Zealand, we want to make sure these guys are strong, but also expand our sport to different eyeballs. And hopefully after today's game, hopefully we have.
Congratulations, Brian. Just ask you there, how does that compare to the grand finals wins? Obviously 4 with Leeds, and now to come over and take charge of the furthest outpost in the sport. And I thought today we saw something really special being born, with the city truly getting behind the pack. And how did it feel as coach?
What about that for a crowd?
Oh,
I mean, the name 9-7.
You want it more like 12, easy. Easy.
I'm probably getting some people in trouble here, but we've got to name 9-7.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was an easy 12. And that's not 12,000 giveaways.
That's paid.
They're all paid for.
Yeah.
And Featherstone brought over, and credit to Featherstone as a club and, you know, the supporters, they were brilliant all game. They brought a few hundred, but, you know, we got 10,000 of our own fans there who turned up to watch Toronto. Toronto is a huge sporting city. It's brilliant. They got the Raptors, who are just the champions of the NBA.
We're the champions.
We're the champions, yeah. We're the North. And they've got the Blue Jays, they've got the Maple Leafs ice hockey, they've got the Toronto FC, they've got the Argonauts, they've got Toronto Arrows, the Rugby Union. They're a fantastic sporting city. And hopefully we can sit alongside some of those teams and start to try and be, you know, get as much profile as they have. But all the indicators are that the city's, I won't tell you that we've completely dominated the city, because we haven't. But for a city as big as Toronto, with as much going on as Toronto's got, for them to still notice what we do is in itself an achievement. I just think it's obvious that if Toronto are competing in Super League, and London Broncos are in Super League, and Barcelona is, and New York or Ottawa, it's a dynamic game that's sexy, that people want to be involved in, people want to watch, people will turn on the TV to watch, and people go to the games and watch a team from another country to come and play in a competition in the UK. It's just obvious.
Ralph, have we seen something special be born for the game today? I think we might have. I think something today just turned. Sometimes you get to it, and Derek Bowman once told me a story about business when I was talking to him about rugby, and he says, look mate, he says, it took me 10 years to make any money out of AB Sundays. And he said, I got to a point and all of a sudden it just started to grow and grow and grow and grow. I think today we've hit that point for the Wolfpack, and we're just going to see it grow and grow and grow and grow.
Well, you can certainly make that argument. It's a very special day. I think it is a bit of a watershed. You know, one of the other things that they've done is other clubs in other parts of the world are now looking at this and thinking, I can do that. That's the thing. And before it was, you know, probably the holy grail that couldn't be achieved. And the Wolfpack have just stormed through, opened the door and stormed through it.
It's put 21 million Canadian dollars. I think that works out about 12 million, 13 million English pounds. It's cost them to get to this point today. When you think about it, actually, it's not that. When we talk about football money and stuff, rugby league is a very investable sport. If you can say from 0 to 10,000 radical fans, a place in the Super League costing £12 million roughly, and a team that's going to compete in Super League, it won't scare some people, that kind of money.
It won't. You know, there will have been a lot of eyeballs watching this today. I don't know what the numbers are there, but it will have been big. You've been in the city for a couple of days now. You, like I, have seen it on national television here, how big it is. I say the mayor is here. That's a very, very big, powerful man, that, who was unbelievably enthusiastic about it. Those are all game changers in their own right. So, yes, it cost a few quid. Well, they've done it right, haven't they? They've done it right, and they've achieved something great.
As ever, well done to Alex Simmons and John Nisbet, who's gone over there as well. He's an unsung hero here at Rugby AM. Ultimately, they've got the win. They're going to be in Super League. One more question about Toronto. I think, and I'm not politically minded, Eric Perez didn't negotiate the funding for those guys, so they don't get any of that central funding going into the Super League. Is that a fair thing to let them fend for themselves, or is it just horses for courses?
You don't get the paper signed, it's just the way it works, isn't it? You look, like I say, you think that everybody else would go, yeah, it's going to be great, get them in, but I think every other team in Super League now is going, that's a little bit extra for us.
Yep.
So I think part of the negotiations was, again, I'm not seeing the paperwork or been involved in this kind of stuff where TV deals were supposed to be brought to the table from the Canadian broadcasters or that side of it. Maybe they've not materialised, I don't know, but I think they're in and they wanted to be in, and they'll take the rough with the smooth just to prove a point, I think.
Well, we've got some fans' questions here. The first being from Barry Gilchrist, a name that I couldn't pronounce many years ago. What's your favourite moment from your career as either player or as a coach?
Wow,
It's a big one, that.
That is a big one. Like, well, my favourite moment is it tends a little bit as well with one of those moments that you want. Like, I captained England in a World Cup final.
Yeah.
So I walked out in front of my country at Wembley in a World Cup final. Like, it's like, it doesn't really get much better than that. Like, say, as someone like a kid who grew up in Salford and wanted to play rugby league or play football or be a sportsman, to walk out in front of the national team in a World Cup final at Wembley, and there's only Bobby Moore ever done that, apart from me. So now it's one of those, like, that kind of moment sticks with me a little bit. It's also pretty tense because I don't think we actually fulfilled our potential that day. Right. We didn't actually go on and perform. I think we could have won that day, and we just didn't really hit our straps, and that's a regret in the game as well.
Sharing the accolade with Bobby Moore, I love that. That's outstanding. Jay Beckett asks, opinions on Widnes' current situation and who he thinks will be the right man to take charge of the club now that Pertell has left Football FC.
Oh, wow. I think it's pretty sad. It makes me feel sad, the situation that Widnes are in at the moment. Yeah. Like I say, I gave a considerable amount of my time and energy and effort into the place over 8 years. We kept them in Super League. We fought really hard to keep the conveyor belt of local players involved. On the coaching side of things, I think on the weekend, and Scott Naylor's leaving Oldham. Well, like I say, at the moment, I think Scott Naylor could be an ideal situation to be able to take over a club like Widnes and hopefully get them moving forward again.
It'd be good to see Widnes back up there. Massive club, big heritage, big history. Tommy Tucker asks, is the biggest regret of your career singing I Feel Good on the 1991 Wigan Challenge Cup homecoming? We've already talked a little bit about that. When you look back, is it part of the fonder memories?
Oh, there's lots of, like I said, there's a memory there, like I said, not so fun, and it's the Sheffield, like everybody likes to bring that up. You win 8 Challenge Cups, everybody talks about playing Sheffield.
Yeah.
But the trips back, the people you're involved with, they're the things you hold on to. Like you say, the games are going a blur. The first couple of games there, the first years, it just passed you by in a flash. Like I say, I remember the first one in 1989, trying to get on the field and Nicky Kiss wouldn't come off. You're only allowed 2 substitutions. I'm prowling up and down. There's a fella, Keith Mills is on there, who was the kit man and runner and everything that was involved in the club, and he's grabbing Nicky, and Nicky's saying no. I think Ray Friends commentates on it, says something, and eventually get Nicky Kiss off, and I steam onto the field, and I get about 15 minutes to play in a Challenge Cup final, and we've beaten St Helens quite convincingly. And I think that sticks with me because of the anticipation. The others just fold into, like say, tough, just memories of people, of time, and the excitement of the journey. And then it became a part of, it wasn't as exciting about winning, it was not wanting to lose. And you've been there yourself, that it was like you enjoyed the journey of getting there, but then you didn't want to be part of that team that failed that year. So it became the anxiety of those games outstripped the excitement of being involved in.
Denis, I wanted to ask you one more question. Might be a tough one, you might not know the answer to it yet, but 5-6 years' time, what are your ambitions? I'm in a new chapter myself, going on a new journey. I don't know what it's going to look like for me, but where would you like to see yourself in the near future?
I'd still love to be involved with the game. In 5 years' time, hopefully, watching my youngest daughter graduate a degree from going to university, so that'll be my last one done, all of them done through university and moved on, so then we can start the next chapter after that.
Brilliant.
So that's where I see myself, in love with rugby league and still doing the things, and hopefully seeing Newcastle in Super League.
Getting on to granddad time. I can see you being one of our age partnership ambassadors going forward. Just one more task here, Denis, if you wouldn't mind doing us the honour of signing the table. I hope to see you guys at the grand final. I'm going to be there. Denis Betts is going to be there as well. If you haven't got your tickets, go to rugbyam.co.uk. Can't wait. It's going to be a massive game. I think we're on an event horizon for rugby league. Salford, the first time they've been there. Jackson Hastings leading them out. Going to be a massive performance behind the likes of Lee Moss up there, who's officially captain. But this year's been pretty special for Rugby M. It's been special for Rugby League as well, seeing Toronto Wolfpack coming in. I hope to see you at the grand final anyway, and if not, we'll see you right here on Free Sports next week for Rugby M.